Welcome back here on FloridaHSFootball.com as we're here at the Florida Citrus Sports High School Football Media Days here in Orlando at Camping World Stadium. And joining us now here on this video is the Boone Braves head coach Andy Johnson, and I've got players Jack Lynch and Harrison White joining us here. And Coach, appreciate you all being able to stop by here. And coming into a new season, and I know last year, I know the expectations were high, kind of went, things kind of slid back, but it's a new season. So what have y'all been doing to get you guys ready here for 2023? The chance to win a district title, everything's sitting there fresh slate.
Yeah, that's the exciting thing about high school football. Every year is a new year, and you can glean a little bit from the previous year, but every year is different, and so the kids mature. You're bringing, new players into the fold, asking, guys that were maybe role players to take on a bigger role, guys that were, really good players to become even better players, and to keep pushing to get themselves better, to get the program better. Coaches the same thing. I mean, I always challenge my coaches to just do a better job than you did the previous year. And, I think as a whole, we do a pretty good job with that.
No, absolutely, and let's talk a little bit about the schedule here that you got coming up here this year. I know, looking at with the teams, you open the season with Timber Creek, but then Evans, which could be potentially a rising program this year if they're on the rebuild. But Winter Park Week 3, you start with that kind of schedule. With teams like Timber Creek, it's been traditionally a playoff team, and Winter Park has been really good. That first gap right there in that first 3 weeks. What is that for you believe that will set the tone for your team?
I mean, it's a good challenge. Whenever I like opening with Timber Creek because it's a good barometer where you're at as a program because they're going to play hard-nosed football. They're not going to beat themselves. They're going to be well coached and disciplined. So it's always, I always say whenever you play Timber Creek, one way or the other, it's going to be 13-10 in the fourth quarter, and and then go. I mean, that's pretty much every Timber Creek game we've ever played, outside of a couple. So it's always a good competition. And Evans is always, terrifying for us because they're going to be athletic as heck. And, we just got to do a good job out coaching them and out playing them. And, that's kind of how we try to approach it. And then obviously, Winter Park's always going to be tough. So, but, I think our kids feel like they can go and compete with anybody. So.
No, absolutely, and and just going down and looking at the rest of the schedule here, among the teams here, because really it's with the district itself, you got your first district game is going to be against Freedom, and you got Lake Nona, Cypress Creek, Oak Ridge, those guys that are part of your district here. But what's really interesting about midway through the schedule here, once you get past your bye week, you come right out of the bye week, and there's Jones sitting right on the other side. It's so what is it about Jones, sitting there, because that's going to be a tough one right there in the middle of all that.
Yeah, I mean they're an elite program. They're an elite program that we had beat in the fourth quarter last year. I mean, quite frankly. And we let it get away from us, but I thought we had them beat. They made one more play than we did, and that was kind of the story of a lot of our real tough games. I mean, we were tied with Edgewater in the fourth. We were down 7-3 with Apopka in the first round of the playoffs in the fourth quarter. We were ahead against DP in the fourth quarter, and we lost all those games.
And not to mention that we can't forget about Dr. Phillips. Even Dr. Phillips being 4-6 last year, you can't. That's a tough program over there.
Very. So it's just kind of finding a way to take that extra step and finish those games. We couldn't do it last year. That's really what we got to figure out how to do this year.
No, absolutely, and of course, then the bookmark at the end of the season is the battle of the barrel right there with Edgewater, the 71st edition this year. Coach, just looking at it, that schedule right there, it's still you got to win those games, otherwise you can't go anywhere.
Yeah, and we learned that last year. Even winning our district, with the new format, we won our district. I mean, we were up 48-0 in every district game. And we still were a 7 seed and had to travel.
Do you think your guys may get complacent a little bit when you're winning those district games outside when it's like, or do you think it's just because I know it's like okay, well you're up 48-0, well then you're going to pull the starters out in the second half and be like, okay, well
I mean, I think when it's time for them to rise to the occasion, they will. I mean, last year was an anomaly in our district. The year before we were in a dogfight with Lake Nona. And I'm assuming it'll be that way again. They look like they've made some good improvements and additions to their team and new coaching staff. And so I think last year was kind of an anomaly district-wide or district-wise. So I think it'll be much more competitive. I think Oak Ridge is going to be better. I don't know much about Freedom and Cypress at this point, but, I think, it does allow for, I don't necessarily worry about those games in those games, but we need to do a good job making sure coming out of those games that we're ready to ramp up the competition, which, is important.
No, absolutely, and let's bring in Harrison and then Jack in on this one. The guys here. We'll start with you with Harrison first. Is right here. It's senior year for y'all. All y'all seniors that came here today for media day. What is your biggest goal this year? Being the final year that you're putting on that Boone Braves uniform.
Really, I just want to take it as all the way to the state championship, because ultimately that's the goal. We've been district champions back-to-back years. We want to take the next step, not have a first or second round exit. We want to go deep into the playoffs.
I feel the same way. I think if we play as hard as we can and push every team, we have a chance to go to the state, like Harrison said. So, yes.
And with that, you state the goals here. So what have you all been doing during the offseason? Because we know a lot of the work that happens, what transpires on the field is what happens during the offseason, not necessarily in the season. So what have y'all been doing to prepare for this final year?
We've been grinding every day of the summer, Monday through Thursday, in the weight room and on the field. We've been getting faster, bigger, stronger, which that's the main key. Just being bigger, faster, stronger, smarter. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
I just tag on to that. I mean, all of our key players, our best players, are out there every day just working their ass off, just as hard as they can every day. So, I mean, that's all we can ask for.
No, absolutely. And Coach, for you, for your guys here, these are just two of your four guys that you brought with you at the media day. These are guys that are senior leadership. So what does it mean for you with senior leadership, and how critical is that for your team?
Well, I mean, I always use the analogy growing up on a farm. I mean, the worst job on a farm, because I did it, is picking rocks in a field, and nobody wants to do it, but everybody has to do it. And I think that's kind of how these guys, approach it. And no job is too big or too small. It's just let's go get the job done. I know these players. If I ask them to, change a position, they'll do it. They'll change a position. If they ask them to play defense, they've been an offensive player. Whatever they got to do, they'll do it. And I think that's just kind of the culture we have at Boone. I mean, it's just we want to just do whatever we got to do to win. Play however style, offense, defense, special teams, whatever it is, and we'll be there in the fourth quarter. I mean, that's kind of, we want to turn this thing into a street fight and see who comes out, on top.
No, absolutely, and of course, for all y'all, has media day been fun for y'all? Is this something that the memorable experience that will start off the season for you in the right way?
It's been very fun. Talked to a lot of great people.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it.
Awesome. And Coach, for you, how important media day is for your guys?
I mean, it's really the cool part about high school football. I mean, just these guys have been with us since 9th grade, and just to see them to turn into the young men they are is just that's the best part of coaching high school football. I mean, obviously the Friday night wins is great, but just to see the development of these guys, all four of these guys, have been with us since 9th grade, and that's what makes Boone special. I know everything about these guys as a Boone Brave because I've seen it happen, with my own two eyes. And just to be a small part in their journey is really, what makes me keep coming back year after year.
No, absolutely. And, well, guys, I appreciate it. Best of luck to the Boone Braves this season, and we'll see you out there on the Friday Night Lights.
Thanks,
Thank you. All right. That was the Boone Braves here, joining us here on FloridaHSFootball.com from the 2023 Florida Citrus Sports High School Football Media Days here at Camping World Stadium in Orlando. Stay tuned for more content on FloridaHSFootball.com. We'll see you soon.